Hello, so I'm just checking in at the end of day 25. I've got some reflections that I want to record for the future me and anybody who might be going through this process. So where am I at? I have been studying online courses for the last 18 months. 3 years ago, I launched a business and I set it up with... I'm very reluctant to go into any detail on this. Let's just say the business got off to a very, very bad start. I think I was partly responsible for that. I was not ready. I didn't realize how limiting my mindset was at the time and how much that was affecting me. And I needed to probably be in a nurturing team rather than spearheading something myself. But it threw me in the deep end and I learned a lot, and I've definitely leveled up. It's forced me to level up a lot since. And then it was partially due to, let's say, outside forces that involved just some very bad energy. I'm not going to say any more than that. So that's what happened a few years ago, and that left me in a pretty precarious situation, a sink or swim, extremely stressful. And since then, since the last 15 years, I read that quote by Warren Buffett that you are your greatest asset. And there's that famous story that he says that somebody asked him, what's the best investment you made? If you don't know who, I'm sure you know who Warren Buffett is, but if you don't know, he's one of the best investors in history. And somebody asked him, what's the best thing you've invested in? And he responded and said, a cassette pack, an audio course. I think it was Earl Nightingale or something, or Napoleon Hill, maybe. I think it was Napoleon Hill. And he said, your mind is your greatest asset. Now, that's potentially problematic because with the self-help industry, unless you're the type of person who will take action and take risks, and be okay with failure and get stronger from it, then just sitting there and listening to self-help stuff, if anything, can be an inhibiting factor. You're busy going nowhere. So you need to have what's called a growth mindset. And that's why if I was ever mentoring somebody and I spotted a hint of a fixed mindset in them, I think that would be the first thing I fixed in them or suggested to them that they fix. You must have a growth mindset. And I'm speaking to myself really here. And if you don't have a lot of money to have, I don't know how you might pay to get that. Maybe Carol Dweck, who's the kind of pioneer of that growth mindset work that's been done the last 15 years, 20 years. Maybe she has courses or coaching, or maybe you can learn that. But just her book, Mindset, if you get that book, read it, make notes in the book, and she has exercises. And the first step, this is what if I was coaching someone, is to become aware of whether or not you have a fixed or a growth mindset. That is, I can honestly, I can save you 20 years of pain. If you have a fixed mindset, you're probably going to be pretty cruel to yourself. You're going to be frozen in fear. You'll be less likely to take action. You must become aware if you have a fixed mindset, in my opinion. If you want to achieve anything big in life, you've got to become aware that you have a fixed mindset. Don't judge it, just become aware of it. And then take steps. And at the back of her book, there are exercises. Take steps to cultivate, and it will happen for you, a growth mindset. The other thing quickly I'll say about that is if you are around people who have instilled a fixed mindset in you, you may need to take charge of that situation and move yourself away from those people in that regard. So if there's a scenario where they can criticize you if you make a mistake, just get away from those people. Try and be around people who have more of a growth mindset. You are the 5 people of the You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You will become like those you spend time with. So if you are around growth mindset people who say, for example, let's try, and if it doesn't work, we don't lose, we learn. That is the kind of osmosis you need. You need to be around those people. So to go back to Warren Buffett, yes, he listened to a Napoleon Hill cassette set. If you don't know what cassette tapes are, they are before CDs, they are before MP3s, and before, it's like an old version of a podcast. It's an education self-help form of learning. They have audio tracks and you listen to them on cassette tapes. If you don't have that growth mindset, all of that learning that you've been doing in those cassette tapes will just cause you to sit there and probably look for more information to absorb and do absolutely nothing with. So I've always believed, to go back to the very beginning, to close the loop on this, that you need to have, you need to invest in yourself. You are your best asset. And I found that out, to go back to the first point I made, the hard way, through the very enlightening experience I had a few years ago. I found out that you are your greatest asset and you need to invest in yourself. Yes, that means educating, but then remember, you've got to have that foundation of a growth mindset. Otherwise, you won't use what you've learned. You'll be frozen with a fixed mindset, okay? So that sets the context. What have I been doing the last 18 months? I've been learning, investing in my mind. I've spent quite a good bit of money on coaching and online courses. And as I've just said, there is a trap. If you are prone to having a fixed mindset, or you came from that origin and you're cultivating a growth mindset, as I've been doing the last year especially, there is a trap that you'll just keep learning and doing courses and getting more coaching, and nothing will happen because you're too damn scared to take any risks. So anyway, I'm working on the two. I'm investing in upgrading my skill set and my abilities in certain areas of business and making money online, as well as cultivating a growth mindset. And here's the thing, when you are doing these online courses, it can get really pretty damn lonely. You are sat there for hours on your own with earbuds in, hopefully wired, not wireless, so your brain is not getting fried with the EMF, with this information coming at you, and you want to get through it. You might not be implementing what you're learning because, you know, there's so much material to get through. You kind of make notes and take screenshots, and you think, or you write a to-do list, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. But you're just absorbing all this information, and that can become pretty disheartening, all right? Because you're on your own a lot. It can be pretty lonely. And the second thing is, you can fall into the information trap where you just keep absorbing more information, and you have to figure out for yourself whether or not you need to start taking action, or whether it's okay, like you are just getting through this course and absorbing more info as the way forward. So that's where I'm at. The business, that experience, invested in myself whilst cultivating a growth mindset. So if this is all you listen to this video, I hope that helps. I'm going to step now. I'm not going to edit this. I'm not going to make this 8 minutes long to optimize the viewing time to get more viewers. This is just me journaling. And that's my next point, is these videos I've found have been invaluable for me. I've never been into journaling. I tried to do it once. I just found the process too slow, and I felt it was causing my morning to stagnate. It was taking too long being sat there with a book writing. Recording these videos, and when I hear myself, and because I know in the back of my mind it's possible that someone may watch these, when I repeat the same mistake, like if you've watched these, say someone had watched these for the last 3 weeks, you would know that I've been struggling with my domino habit, okay? And I've been taking different approaches, and it becomes a bit embarrassing in a way, but I've pledge to keep these videos very honest and raw. It comes a bit embarrassing that you repeat, oh goodness me, like I ate the whole chocolate cake again. That's not actually my vice, but mine is staying up late. I love that time in the evening when it's quiet and relaxed and I've got my iPhone there, and I will find a certain podcast, a Joe Rogan or some, I don't know, TED Talk or Eddie Hearn boxing news. I find Eddie Hearn very entertaining. I love boxing as well. So it's a form of escape late at night, and it robs me of getting good sleep. If you go to bed really after 10 p.m, 11 p.m, certainly midnight or 1 is a disaster. Then I wake up late the next day, later than I would have hoped to. Or like today, I got 6 hours sleep. I did wake up at 7, which is not terrible, but I only got 6 hours of sleep. It's not enough sleep for me. So that's my vice, okay? And so my domino habit is be in bed with a book by 9 p.m. or 9:30 p.m. And I'm reading Atlas Shrugged at the minute, as well as a couple of other books. Maybe it's a bad thing to read multiple books at once at the same time, I don't know. I've been reading this, Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within, and another book which I won't go into for a few reasons. I'll share it another time maybe. So that's my next point, is that this videoing, if you are trying to change something in your life, it might be, if you're not into journaling, that the next best thing is to set up like a secret or like an anonymous YouTube and journal your journey and talk to yourself, all right? And you will start to hear yourself repeating the same thing, like, as I said, oh goodness me, I ate the whole chocolate cake. Day 2 of this 40 days of focus. Day 3, day 4, day 5, I ate the chocolate cake, I ate the chocolate cake. And if you have an analytical mind and you treat it as not a fail, but an opportunity to learn, you'll keep asking the question, what happened? What triggered that, the habit loop thing? What triggered me to go into the kitchen and open the fridge and take the chocolate cake out and sit there with a spoon in front of the TV, whatever. What happened? You get awareness of the triggers, and that's how you undo a habit, is you first find out what the cues are. And then if there is something you can change in your environment, then that's one strategy. Just having awareness of the cue can help. There's different things you can do. It is helpful to have a coach, but a lot of people in these early stages of entrepreneurship, they cannot afford a coach. So you have to coach yourself. All right. So that's my next point, is that these videos, from a journaling point of view, they've been invaluable to me. As I sat here and had got on this camera and begrudgingly said again, oh, I stayed up again late last night. It highlights a recurring theme. You can't hide from it. And then, because I believe it's the right thing to do, I go into coaching mode. I imagine how I would speak to someone if I was coaching them. Okay, so if you're a coach, you help somebody inquire as to what the solution, why that's happening and what the solution could be. Don't beat yourself up. It's just not really very helpful. So that's the next point, is these videos as a form of journaling have been invaluable. So first point is that I've been learning online these courses. It is very lonely. You've got to be around people. That's very important. Going to the gym in the evening for me and just having sometimes a 1-minute chat with a couple of the guys down there is like oxygen. It's very, I don't know, isolating to be sat there for 6-7 hours up in the places I've been working, just like going through these modules. And here's the next point. Not measuring wins. I've mentioned many, many times this quote by Tony Robbins, that you can be winning, but feel like you're losing. You can be winning, but feel like you're losing if the scorecard that you're using is unfair. So if every time you score a goal, it doesn't get registered, you keep trying, you score goals, you make progress, your brain looks at the scorecard and registers that nothing has happened. There's no progress. That is soul destroying, okay? And if you're a perfectionist and if you're busy trying to get to the destination, all you're focused on is, am I at the destination yet? Am I at the destination yet? That's all you're focused on. you don't notice the progress you're making. And there's this quote by Imran Gaji. I mention the guy a lot. He inspires me. It's the way it is. I say that because some people, a couple of guys have said to me, you talk about that guy all the time. Why do you talk about him? Are you like a fanboy? I don't know, fanboy, whatever. The guy inspires me. It's really helped me a ton. He went through quite the journey himself. And yeah, so anyway, here's a quote from Gaji. Just put one foot in front of the other, then look back after a decade at what you accomplished. Put one foot in front of the other. And I would add to that, and I'm sure I'm sure he would agree with this, is celebrate your wins as you go. Don't just keep beating yourself up in that 10-year period saying, I'm not at the 10-year point yet. I'm not at the 10-year point yet with all your goals achieved. It makes it really hard. But I noticed today, in this morning's video, I set my my BAM goal, bare ass minimum, or my most important tasks. I have smashed it today. I went way beyond the BAM and the MIT, most important tasks. And I was just sat there at the end of the day feeling exhausted, but I noticed this kind of panicked feeling in me. And I got curious and I asked myself, why do you feel like this? Why do you feel crappy right now? And the answer was because you're not there yet. My brain is is asking, like a kid in the backseat of a car on a long journey, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And that part of my brain is constantly doing that. I find it very, very easy to tick off several checkpoints and it's almost weird, completely forget or not be aware that I've made several steps forward. All my brain is interested in is, am I there yet? Now, some people might say, well, that's a good thing. You're holding yourself to a high standard. I think combined with working on your own, which is typically lonely, that constant mindset of I'm not there yet, so I failed today. I'm not there yet, so I'm failed today. It may take you 5 years to get there. If you have 5 years of every day you're working as hard as you can, but you're telling yourself, I'm not there yet, so I failed, you will grind yourself down and you'll start to become ineffective and you'll start to associate pain with doing work. I've noticed I coach people to lose body fat and get the body shape they love. It's something I've successfully done. I used to be chubby when I was younger, and that's something I'm good at. I have a lot of experience at it. I've spent 20 years researching it and applying it. I've worked with athletes and busy CEOs in London, people worth a lot of money. And one thing I help them become aware of is when you start out, you may not be there yet, but you have to divorce the result and marry the process. Yes, it's good to have a goal, it's good to have a vision, but once that's set in the back of your mind, yes, by all means, focus on it every day, but really focus more intensely on the process. Did I do my steps today, my behavior goals? If you did, that is to be celebrated, because focusing on that will get you to the end goal. So it's funny that I'm aware of this and I help other people do this when it comes to losing weight, but on this entrepreneurship journey, I have a built-in mechanism where my brain has one measure. The scorecard is, have you achieved your big goal yet, which is to hit a certain monthly income, or not? And it's either a pass or a big fat fail. So you're working your socks off every day. Like, today's been super productive and you just feel like you failed, and it's like something to be aware of, that's for sure. I hope this is helpful to someone. I'm sure I'm not the only guy who's experienced this. So, what's the remedy? Getting into the positive side, what is the remedy? Well, there's a cost to doing everything. Why do I say that? People say, well, I don't want to go to the gym, it's hard. Yeah, okay, it's hard. You can learn to love it. But yes, in the beginning, it's kind of a bit of a, you're sweating, you're getting hot. It's hard. That first session back, even if you have been fit before, is always a bit of a stinger. But you can overcome that. It's an investment. The return is worth it. It's worth it 100%, assuming you're doing the right kind of workouts. I say that because I see people down at the gym I go to, they're trying hard, but they're just doing the wrong things to get a result. And they look in them, like, I look at them, not in a bad way, but I feel bad for them and I don't want to step on their toes. And they're getting more and more out of shape, but they're down at the gym, they're trying hard. It's One guy asked me for help yesterday, and I'm so happy to help him, just give him some advice and point him in the right direction, because it pains me to see people putting the work in. Anyway, look, I digress. There's a cost to doing everything. So what's the remedy to what I was talking about a minute ago? It's keeping a to-do list and a checklist. Now, I say there's a cost because planning your day the night before is, yes, there is a cost to doing that. There are apps like, I think it's called Todoist. There are loads of to-do list apps. Strides is another one that Gadget used. Yes, there is a cost in building out a to-do list. You can set them as repeating tasks, so you don't need to keep inputting them every day. But the return on that investment, that effort you put in up front, is that you get to tick off your tasks and you physically get to see that you've done that task, and it puts a line through the task. Or, do you know, even better can be pen and paper. Buying a stack of these Post-it notes, buying a block of these for £2 or £1, and you write that down and you put that in your pocket. And there is something gratifying, I think there is actually research on this, about putting a line through each one as you go. Anybody who's kept to-do lists before has probably experienced doing the task, then going to the to-do list, writing down the task, and then crossing it out. So that's a remedy for this idea, this scenario where you're putting effort forward, you're making progress, but your brain is telling you you failed because you're not there yet, the big end goal. That's a remedy right there, is plan the day the night before and use a to-do list app, like I mentioned a second ago. Yeah, if you look at Everest, it's a cliche metaphor. I've written down a couple of points here I want to share with you that were in this video. If the goal is, the objective is climb to the peak summit of Everest in one go, you're just going to be broken. You could do that 1,000 times and you'll just keep failing. In the end, your brain will start to associate pain with climbing to the top. Yeah. So if you set the goal of getting to base camp, which is like the first stop on Everest, then great, that's achievable. You get there, you're doing it in a crew, hopefully, or if you're learning these courses online, maybe you're on your own, but there's an online community, you can speak to some people there, maybe that's cool. Or tell someone in your family, a friend, someone who cares for you, hopefully you have someone like that in your life. If not, that needs to be addressed for sure. But yeah, base camp. Did you get to base camp? Great. Or did you pack your bag and get ready to go to base camp? Great. Celebrate that win. And you can frame building a to-do list as clarity. How we see something determines how we feel about doing it. So how we talk about it to ourselves in our minds, how we present it to ourselves. For example, I'm about to go to the gym. I am so excited right now to go to the gym. I am bursting at the seams. I've been sat in front of a screen working for, what time is it? For 8.5 hours. Like, I am done. And I know that going to the gym, I love the floor to ceiling ball. I box that thing, I move my head. I'm not whacking it hard, but I'm moving my body, I'm doing something else. It gets all of this energy from just being sat there typing and absorbing all this information out of me. I get a sweat on, that releases endorphins, serotonin. I achieve goals at the gym, so there's that pattern again. I get to see a couple of people. So when I first started working out, I saw working out, the way I would present it to myself in my mind is exercise is horrible. I remember at primary school we had the cross country, and people would speak about this thing as if it was some kind of monster in a horror movie. They'd say, oh my, we've got to go into the woods and it was called Heart Attack Hill, they called it, the end of the cross country run. I attacked it, and I overcame that negative association to that. I think I won or came second in the cross country. You know, I was not a good runner, but I was just like, could suffer a lot. So how you present something in your mind is also really important. I'm really talking to myself here. I hope this is not coming across as preachy. I'm pretty agitated right now. I'm really, yeah, let's frame it positively. It's just a bit disheartening where you've become aware of these patterns in your mind so many times, and yet they're still happening. But hey, all change starts with awareness, and these videos are helping, as I said at the beginning, with the journaling effect of, you hear yourself repeating things. It can really help. I can't recommend it enough. Don't be afraid of getting on camera and talking to yourself. If you want to, you can keep the videos private on YouTube. I recommend it. But yeah, that's the day is I worked my socks off. My brain, I noticed my brain was telling me that I failed because I'm not there yet, you know, at my monthly income goal, which could take a year, 2 years to get to where I'm trying to get to. But you've got to maybe set a to-do list, use an app, and celebrate those wins. And I think that that's where also having a reward for yourself at the end of the day. Mine is going to the gym, sweating, and then sitting in the sauna with some Olbas oil and eucalyptus. That is my thing. I think I also might watch a movie tonight. I rarely do that, really. I find a lot of movies are just out of Hollywood are, yeah, it's another topic, but I may watch a movie tonight as well. But rewarding your work and celebrating your wins. I think that's the message from today. That's a long video, 27 minutes. If somebody watches this, a fair play to you. Yeah. Break the tasks down, celebrate the wins, get to base camp first. Writing a to-do list, it takes time. It's a little bit of an investment, but it gives you clarity. Reframe it. All of that about the gym was to say that don't frame that as a kind of a fag, as they called it, public schools, you know, these annoying tasks. It's an investment. And I go back to this quote by Gadji in Digital Launchpad. At the time of filming this, he's got an educate company with a 6-week digital launchpad. I just watched the first video again. It's really, really good, the stuff in there. You feel like kind of like he's a bit like a coach as well, or like a buddy on the journey with you. But I'll finish with this quote: just put one foot in front of the other. And I think he would say to celebrate each step. Then look back after a decade at what you accomplished. So there you have the breaking it down effect, celebrating as you go, but also the vision of where you want to get to. It's my longest video yet, I think. I hope it helps. If you're on this journey, develop that growth mindset, invest in yourself. But if you're doing an online course, apply what you're learning with that learner's mindset. If you fail forward, you are winning. And eventually the wins will come and you will get the winner effect, where your brain starts to associate, it starts to change everything, how you see stuff. And you've got to believe you can do it. That's another video for another time though. If you don't believe you can do something, you won't take the steps to getting there because you think it's not possible. So believe you can do it. Have a wonderful weekend, or whenever you watch this, if anybody watches this. Yeah, take care. Stay happy, healthy, and free.